Hello, welcome to March 12th, 2019. It's the edition of Parental Alienation Daily, where we feature an article from the daily newspaper. Thank you in advance for liking this video and subscribing to the channel. The more likes and subscribes, then that grows our channel so that we can actually upgrade the equipment. So let's take a look at today's article. Today's article comes actually from psychologytoday.com. There's several great articles on there. This one is by Dr. Susan Heitler, and you can follow her on Twitter at Dr. Susan Heitler. The article's title is Parental Alienation Syndrome. What is it and who does it? What kind of parent lies to turn their kids against the other parent? From Dr. Susan Heitler, I have had a run recently in my clinical practice on cases of parental alienation syndrome. Instead of talking cooperatively, these spouses and ex-spouses interact as adversaries toward their partner. Worse, they develop an exaggeratedly negative view, more fiction than reality, of the other partner. So that brings us to what is parental alienation and who does it? Parental alienation. It's a term actually from the 80s that was coined by child psychiatrist Dr. Richard Gardner. And this occurs when one parent attempts to turn the couple's children against the other parent. A parent who is angry at the spouse or ex-spouse, they're able to accomplish this by painting a very negative picture of the other parent by things like derogatory comments, blame, and even false accusations. And they share this with the children. They may also hoard the kids, meaning they'll start chipping away at the shared parenting time and eventually doing everything and anything they can to trade it, but that other parent continues to lose that time until the worst case scenario may occur where they're left with no parenting time as an erased parent. So the article continues from the author. In my clinical practice, the mother most often has been the alienating parent, turning the children against their dad. At the same time, she's had many families in which dad's the toxic parent, poisoning the children against their mother. In general, the alienating parent is the least emotionally healthy and often the more wealthy because they're able to afford the legal challenges. And the court system is an ally for the strategies used by the alienator. What we're also finding is while there's statements about more dads than moms are the target parents and that moms do the alienating, as time goes on, especially as we're turning the corner and parental alienation is being discussed more in the mainstream, because of the shame and that what children wouldn't speak to their mother, more and more moms are coming out and talking about this and supporting each other through this tragedy on a personal level, but there's also a lot of social stigmas attached to it, a lot of judgments from other people who don't understand what parental alienation is. Continuing, the sad reality is that parents who poison their children's natural affection for the other parent are doing serious, even abusive damage. The author quotes a blogger, Dr. Edward Kruk. He has updates to the research on this important point. A survey taken at the Association of Family and Conciliation Courts annual 2014 conference reported 98% agreement in this, in support of the basic tenet of parental alienation. Children can be manipulated by one parent to reject the other parent who does not deserve to be rejected. For the child, the psychosocial, spiritual effects of parental alienation are devastating. For both the alienated parent and child, the removal and denial of contact in the absence of neglect or abuse constitute cruel and unusual treatment. As a form of child maltreatment, parental alienation is a serious child protection matter as it undermines a basic principle of social justice for children, the right to know and be cared for by both of their parents. And what you will find is if you talk to a child that is in a dynamic where there is an alienator and a target parent, they have been conditioned and manipulated to believe that it was their choice. And when you ask the child why you don't see your parent or why you don't want to spend time with that parent anymore, what they say absolutely does not align with erasing a parent from their lives. The other tragic part of this is because of the trauma bond children have to the alienator and cutting off that other parent, the loving parent, that child now has actually had to sever half of who they are as well. And there is quite a bit of research about the consequences to this happening and the arrested development that is natural during their growing up. An alienating parent usually shows narcissistic and also borderline tendencies. Maybe you have an ex that was diagnosed, maybe not. If they're not diagnosed, we can't refer to them as narcissists, but we can discuss and talk about the behaviors and the tendencies. Narcissism is, as the author states, being selfish on steroids. Narcissistic individuals are very self-absorbed. Most centrally, they show deficits in ability to listen to others' differing perspectives. Instead, they hyper-focus on what they themselves want, think, feel, and believe without taking into consideration others' desires and ideas. Being able to have reflection, self-reflection, that's not a skill or attribute of someone with these tendencies. Having a lack of empathy, that's also another red flag. A narcissistic, alienating parent uses the children as weapons, as pawns in their battle to destroy the other parent. Part of this too is the parent, they very much black and white thinking, and instead of being a team, instead of a mindset of cooperation, their mindset is somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, somebody's good, somebody's bad. Very much black and white. And knowing those red flags, you can begin to see, for those who don't understand what parental alienation is, this is where the court system very much plays into this mindset. The alienators claim to be protecting the children against the evil other, but in fact, by using the children in their ongoing fight to hurt the other parent, they show little capacity for taking into consideration what is in the best interest for the child. Like, they don't even take in the best interest, because at the end of the day, they want to wreak havoc, and it is more important to destroy the other parent. There's more hatred for them that they're projecting from themselves, and they don't have the capacity to love their children unconditionally. Kids need both parents. They do not, however, benefit and indeed are harmed when one of their parents portrays the other in a relentlessly negative light. They do not need parents who fight their way through divorce, beyond divorce as well. They are harmed when parents put them in the middle of their power battles. They are harmed when a parent uses them to accomplish their own angry agenda, ignoring the needs of children. The central element in borderline personality disorder is emotional hyperreactivity. The excessive and intense emotions are what often gets repressed and comes out as anger. So what ends up happening is you have this, supercharged alienator who has an incredible amount of internal rage, and it's being displaced onto the parent that's usually very loving and very compassionate, full of empathy. And what ends up happening is that anger spews to the target parent. Then the target parent reacts to that, and that's how the destruction occurs. And the more love, the more compassion, or the more defensive the target parent puts out there, the alienator sees that as problematic and continues to ramp this up for the children. And they're the ones that suffer through all of this. In addition to getting emotionally aroused too often with too much intensity, people with this disorder then have problems with self-soothing. The distress that they put on themselves and spew onto others, it tends to last longer than what most people will experience. And in this regard, they have deficits in not only their emotional coping, but also in their resilience, which is the ability to recover once they have felt frustrated or disappointed. They become at risk, therefore, for developing a victim self-image, blaming others for whatever goes wrong, which in turn enables them to then victimize other people. I'm the victim, so I have the right to victimize you. Borderline disorders become evident in the way that an alienating parent twists reality. They offer trumped-up accusations against the healthy parent, accusations that are actually projections of how they really are as people. So when they say that, your mom or dad is selfish, they're actually the selfish one. Or your mom or dad is crazy. They are actually talking about themselves because of their unhealthy emotional being. Alienating parents typically also engage in other quintessential borderline patterns, a habit that therapists refer to as splitting. What they do is they enlist others to join their side in fighting against that evil other parent, splitting the family into us versus them, like criminal court. And what happens is the folks that they gather around in their camp, if you will, for their somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose at all costs, these people, you may have heard them referred to as flying monkeys. They're enablers, and they will aid the alienator and enable them to continue the smear campaign. And in reality, these folks are also partaking in the abuse of all of our poor children. Individuals with borderline personality features, they get mad when someone of importance to them, they won't give them what they want. So your spouse has decided to leave the marriage. They've had enough. Generally because the alienating partner was not capable of being in a healthy and a loving and collaborative partnership. That other person, they get to the end of their rope, they're done. Their goal then becomes to destroy this parent's relationship with the children. It is about going after that parent's jugular, if you will, trying to destroy them at all costs. And they do that through the children And then they also do this through financial. They'll ruin careers, false accusations. There are some pretty horrendous stories of what target parents have had to endure in just trying to have contact with their children. Alienators corral the kids in, to join them in this battle and have them choose the alienator's side. And what's even worse is when you speak with the children, they are adamant that the children believe that they have made the choice and that their choice was made with justification. And when you peel back the onion on that one, it does not align. Alienators will do all they can to deprive the other parent, deemed their enemy, of being able to continue to be a parent. Hopefully you have not experienced parental alienation, and I'm hoping you are listening to this to have a better understanding of what parental alienation is, that you are going to help a friend, you're going to help a family member, and maybe you'll get some insights from this article with a lot of great nuggets provided. And in conclusion, the author writes, are you feeling perpetually angry at your spouse or your ex? Are you anxious about your co-parenting relationship? Does this situation make you depressed? She says that you better check out if either of you is involved in trying to turn your children against the other parent. And if so, think again. Do you really want to cause major psychological damage to your offspring? Change is possible, and go for it starting today. We want to make sure that children have both of their parents in their lives. And if you see this in someone you know, please, I beg of you, if you see something, say something. Children matter. For the love of kids, say something. Thank you for joining today. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day, and God bless.